Oh, the Rolls Royce gun.
Ah!
The Rolls Royce of guns right
Designer gun.
Look at that. All right, hit pause. Look at this.
Yes.
I didn't interrupt you.
No, dude, look at that emerald finish, man. It's got a really solid, I love that, man. What is that? It looks like a Nerf gun, man. Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another fantastic, stupendous, amazing episode of Total Recoil. It's great to be back with you. I'm your host, Israel Wright, former Green Beret, and with me back, the triumphant return of Paul Meixner. How you doing, Paul?
Doing great. How you doing, folks? I'm Paul Meixner. I'm a weapons and tactics trainer in the film industry and outside of the film industry.
Today, folks, we're going to be looking at some awesome weapons from Apex Legends. Yes, Apex Legends Redux. That's the symbol for Redux, right? That's the 2 there. Or Peace. But before we get started, I want to tell you about a brand new channel from Gamology called Gamology Forecast, teaching you everything you need to know about the world of video games. And hey, you might even learn a thing or two. It's amazing. It's going to be jam-packed, full of great content with things that you've never seen before from Gamology, such as tips, tricks, and hints, challenging games that you've been playing, top 10 video lists, discovery compilations of new and hidden gems, and reviews of newly released games. It's just so much more. It's going to be awesome. All right, it's going to be great. Be sure to check out Send News, where you can see virtual reality and even free games that are a ton of fun. Gamology Short, full of short gaming videos that are just gonna tickle your fancy there. Just gonna get in there and it's gonna be awesome. So there's potentially 3 new channels from Gamology for you to get into right after you watch this one. So we hope you enjoy. That being said, let's jump in and watch some weapons footage from Apex Legends. Paul, you ready to go?
I'm super excited for this. And can I say, you guys have the best fans at Gamology.
Yeah?
Best commenters, like, and you also can't slip up because they'll let you know, which I appreciate, by the way.
That's
awesome, make a mistake, man. Or whatever, yeah, comment away.
Please do, yeah.
I'd love to hear it. But yeah, you know, the best thing too was just all the compliments I got on my hair. Like,
yeah.
I thought about shaving it, but they're like, dude, it's so full. And like, apparently it was inspiring a lot of people, so I decided to keep it. So thank you so much.
We have amazing fans. Man.
So polite too, just everybody.
Everyone's been so great.
I was overwhelmed with the love that we received in the comment section. So thank you so much.
Ah, the Prowler.
The Prowler.
Yes, bullpup design. Look at it like what? Like a P90?
It definitely looks like a P90. Well, have you seen, was it Tomorrow War with Chris Evans?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they make this furniture for, you know, the AR-15 style rifle too. This is definitely inspired by the P90. You know, of course, the magazine's not on top. It's behind. It's a bullpup.
Right.
You know, visually speaking. And you got the rails on the side to put your lasers.
Now, this is a burst fire weapon. It only fires, well, I guess it has a single shot as well, and then you can do burst fire.
I made a comment in a previous video about how like burst is stupid, and I stand by that, but I'm referring to the M4 series rifle, like just do full auto or not. So some weapons like the Chris Vector has an amazing burst. There's a lot of weapons that are specifically designed for it that have a really good burst. The reason I don't like it in the M4 rifle is like if you pull the trigger and you only fire 2 rounds the first time, then when you go to do burst again, it's only gonna fire 1. And the other thing is like, you know, you ever see the cloverleaf, not the cloverleaf, but like, you know, when you're qualing or you're helping a new soldier qual, you'll see 2 rounds right next to each other and then 1 over here. The third trigger pull is a different poundage than the first 2 because of the weird way they have that 3-round burst set up. So I'm not a fan of 3-round burst in AR-15 style rifles, just do full auto and semi. Subguns like this, if they're made right, burst is awesome. You can usually keep them on target. It's after you fire more than a couple rounds, that's when it starts to become a little more difficult to control. So if you can do 2 to 3 round bursts and it's fluid, it can work great. Is that how it works in the game?
Now in the game, I actually like the burst is good for my rhythm of gameplay. Either you need like a steady stream or a burst. The burst actually forces me to kind of control my shots a little bit more because I'm tempted to just want a steady stream of fire going down range. Yeah, spray and pray.
Run around.
But with the burst in the video game, when you're playing, it actually forces you like, I gotta control myself, you know?
You know, is it when you push the button or pull the trigger or whatever, like, does it only let out as you're holding it, or you just hit it once and it bursts?
Once burst.
Oh, okay, so that's
every trigger squeeze, it's a burst.
I don't know how I feel about that, and like, in gameplay, you have a negligent discharge or you accidentally kill a buddy, it's a game, right? But like, I don't know how I feel of that necessarily. So there's these things called binary triggers. It's a way to get around certain laws. It doesn't make your firearm a machine gun. You pull the trigger once and it fires, and then you release the trigger and it fires again.
Interesting.
They're cool range toys. I don't see a lot of practical use for them.
It feels like a temptation to get something out of control.
They're okay to control. It's a very stuttered. You have to really work it to simulate full auto fire. And you can put the safety on with the trigger pull. It's just, to me, and again, this is just my personal preference, it seems kind of weird to let go. So like for that, you pull the trigger once and then like, what is it, 4 rounds, 5 rounds come out? I like that, but what if like, you know, you take down whoever you're shooting at, but then somebody pops up behind them, but you're still launching rounds. Now, I get it so fast, and so for a video game that's cool. For real life, it only comes out as I'm pulling the trigger. That's just my thoughts on it. But yeah, it looked cool.
Now this is
sounds like it would be a sniper rifle or
bolt action sniper rifle.
Okay.
Yep.
I love how interesting, like, you know, the whole, I don't know, just the way it's put together.
Yeah.
It's a really cool guard or barrel shroud, whatever you want to call it, front hand guard. What's interesting is, like, for a DMR or a recce rifle or a sniper rifle, not having a scope on it. I imagine you could add that.
Absolutely.
In the game.
You find them in the game as you go throughout the match. You find attachments that you can put on.
All right, cool. Because it's difficult, like open sights. Like with my Mauser, I can hit 500 meters is pushing it, and I'm getting older and my eyes are getting worse. So that's pushing it. But like having a nice glass on it makes it so much more efficient. So you got pretty decent controls. Like, so I guess there's skins in the game.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh
like,
yeah, a ton of different skins.
Cool. This looks neat. You know, it looks cool. You got like gold atomized,
like a red and blue hex pattern stuff.
The rear sight looks very solid. Again, there's no front sight post, but I guess from reading some of the comments that there's a holographic front sight post. But I tell you what, you can see that chevron reticle with the mill marks and the.
You can see the dot. It's got a red dot right there too.
Yeah, but I don't think there's a solid front sight post. I think it's a trough up front and a trough in the rear. At least from my eyes, that's what I can see. Sniper rifles, they do make bolt precision rifles. We're gonna talk about this in another video, but the Walther WA-2000, I call it the WA 2000. I don't actually call it that. I don't know if you're supposed to. But it's this German.
You do you know?
This is German sniper rifle. That's it's so expensive, and so German police units were using it for a while. But you know what? I'll get into that in another video. But that's a very famous bullpup.
There's another sniper rifle. There's the charge rifle.
Okay, I love this.
The rate of fire is a little too slow for me. Okay. I like.
Is it a big bullet though? Like
yeah, it's a big bullet. You can see it gives good damage, and man, you can really get taken out from a distance if you're not careful. You know.
And that chevron reticle, that's a fairly accurate reticle. The tip is your zero, like say at 200 meters or something, and you put the tip on it, and that's where it's going to go at that point. And if you want to shoot farther, you use the lower point of the chevron.
Of the chevron.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about distance shooting to say how accurate it is,
right,
but there is round drop. Less so with energy rounds. That's kind of one of the characteristics of that round in the game.
True. Okay, so now is this an energy weapon as well?
No, this is a solid round.
A solid thumper.
Purple means it's a certain sniper ammo.
Okay.
So
all right, cool.
It's gonna be light blue is gonna be heavy ammo, orange is gonna be light ammo.
Mag change. This looks realistic, and you have your Michael Jackson round count on the back. And is he running it with a shield?
Well, now that character is Gibraltar, and he has one of his abilities is he has a mobile arm shield that pops up whenever he aims down his sights.
Sounds like it'd come in handy. Cool. Yeah, I mean running around with like a sniper rifle generally you'd want to you'd sling it and you'd run a different thing. Like depending upon how heavy that thing is too. I've played Halo with the big sniper rifle. Sometimes it's just kind of fun, small
run around with the big old chunky sniper rifle.
Sometimes everybody's taking sniper rifles this round,
The closer in I get with something like this, the worse of a shot I am. But
look at that big muzzle brake on the front too, and that helps with recoil mitigation. And what's funny is when you have a big muzzle brake like that, if you're shooting next to anybody, they're gonna get annoyed because all those gases are coming back, and it's gonna kick up a lot. But that's a big muzzle brake on there.
How fast can you really reload a round with a bolt action? Is it faster?
You can go really quick.
You can, a lever action? Is it slower?
Yeah, it depends upon what it is and how well maintained the rifle is. But you can run them
maybe training, how well trained you are.
Yeah, you can run them very fast. So, a lot of people were wondering why in World War II we didn't have lever actions, because you can go pretty quick with a lever action instead of a bolt gun. But there's a couple reasons for that. One, it's easier to shoot from the prone, and two, you can really run a bolt gun fairly quickly, especially if you're using stripper clips. You just run it. My first movie ever was American Sniper. I played a Marine in American Sniper.
Hey, all right.
The second time I'd ever shaved since getting out of the Army.
Can you see yourself?
I think you see the back of my head. Okay. They sent me a really nice letter saying the scene had been cut. And I remember having my director's hat on when I was there. I'm like, I don't know if this scene's going to make the movie. But it was an amazing experience working with Clint Eastwood.
I love this one because you can get it early in the game. Usually it's one
Look at that. All right, hit pause. Look at this.
Yes.
I didn't interrupt you.
No, dude. Look at that emerald finish, man.
So if you guys have never heard of race guns, go look up race guns. And this kind of looks like a race gun. It's got a great big magwell on it. And race guns can get super flamboyant.
Are they sport shooting?
Yeah, for IPSC or 3-gun. And some guys do more tactical stuff. I would do more of the tactical side just because that's kind of what I'm interested in. I'd also love to get into the historical side. There are pistols like this, and they have these, I'm gonna totally screw up the technical term, but thumb stops, or these huge shelves that come out to put your thumb, depending upon what kind of grip you want. And it's all
kind of really mold your grip into where it needs to be.
Yeah. So for a a lot of combat pistols, especially polymer frame guns, they'll stipple it. And a lot of guys, where depending upon how you hold, you know, I really torque my front, unless I'm manipulating the light, they'll stipple the side, so it's just a little more tacky if you put your thumb. Okay. But these race guns will actually have a shelf that comes out, and they can push down on it to help mitigate the recoil. And these guys shoot them so fast, faster than I. And yeah, this looks just like a race gun. big trigger well.
It always looks like it has an extended mag in it. The design of the gun.
Yeah, that's something else I was going to note on it. Like, it's got a great big base plate, which you can hold like 2 to 4 more rounds depending upon how it's designed. Yep. If you see like the frame on the outside, so some competition pistols, or before they started milling the top duty weapons, which putting optics on pistols is the future. It's definitely like going to be super commonplace. But before, they would have something that attached to the lower frame and then came up over the top.
Almost like a Warsaw rail for like an AK.
Yeah.
It attaches to the side, but it comes around.
Yeah, very similar. And there's different kinds out there. Then you have the benefit of the optic doesn't move. And so I'm curious, I mean, that's kind of what that frame on the outside looks like. And it looks like there's an optic mounting point up front. And the other thing too is, like, if it's just a 1 power or no power, like red dot or holographic sight, the further out you get it, the more field of view you're gonna have, right? So if it's real up close, and you can really notice it on rifles. Generally speaking, you wanna focus on your front sight post, make sure it's lined up with the rear sight post, which should be blurry, and your target should be blurry. And you get pretty fast at it. I mean, it's worked for a very long time. But a red dot, you don't worry about any of that stuff. Red dot, all you gotta do is make sure you have good presentation, because sometimes it's hard to find that dot unless you have perfect presentation. And all you do is look at the target, and then that dot is superimposed, and it can be a lot faster. The further out you get, the more field of view you have, and then you just look at the target, put the dot on it, and boop, boop.
I love the RE45 in the game. 1, because you can find it early, and then 2, because I love sending those rounds down range. Up close, it could be pretty deadly.
Yeah. Well, I remember, so like, I have, for first-person shooters, Halo 2, back in the day, I played a lot of it when you get the dual welding machine pistols. So there's no recoil here. There's no Jesus, look at how, like, this
it's so
guy
smooth,
or gal, they lift. Whoever, this is. I wonder if that's like a big compensator up front, or if that's like some type of suppressor. They make suppressors that are shaped like that, which suppressor has expansion chambers inside of it that allow the gas to expand into multiple chambers, and then it comes out a lot slower, and it reduces the noise quite a bit. Most of them, it doesn't make it super quiet. It just can be tolerable. This gun's super cool looking. It's so smooth. Like, I wonder what kind of round that would be in real life to be that smooth. Something real lightweight, real fast. So my buddy Chad, he brings it out, every time I'm out there shooting with them, they bring out this full auto 22, and it's so like easy to handle. And so Chad from Iraq Vet 8888, he's Eric's sidekick, producer, camera guy, also a shooter, and yeah, he's got this great 22. They're so easy, it's so like very little recoil whatsoever. But yeah, I don't know. That gun was great though. That thing was awesome.
This is great. This is the car, and the cool thing about this one, this was kind of recently introduced. It can take 2 different kinds of rounds, light rounds and heavy rounds.
Gotcha. If the magazine is in, that looks like a pretty short mag, I'm willing to bet, unless it's ridiculously heavy. You could probably get a little bit longer magazine on it. But let's look at the weapon. So rail on top, very realistic sights with, again, I know like fans of the game are gonna gig me on it, but there's no solid front sight post. And I get that from what I read, that they're holographic in this world, which is cool. But like, do the batteries die, or is it tritium?
Or sci-fi future, they got infinite batteries.
And so that's not a gig on it, because everything else looks super realistic, but futuristic at the same time.
It almost looks like the front, it looks like the grip and the front can be flipped up if you want to use it.
Yeah, it does look like it pivots right there. Yeah. It's more rough on the outside there. And
the charging handle looks it looks like it's painted differently. It's kind of differentiated.
Now I wonder if this is part of the skin, because the rest looks pretty tactical. And it's just like, look at me.
I'm looking at the charging handle. I'm over here.
Yeah, you can keep playing it.
I'm charging it. Never mind.
Oh, the Rolls Royce gun. The Rolls Royce of guns right there.
Designer gun.
So I wonder if that's an expandable buttstock or a collapsing buttstock if it moves forward or back, because otherwise it looks pretty short for length of pull. It looks like also we have the charging handle on both sides. Is that correct? Did I see that? Which that's good. I wonder if the rest of the controls are ambidextrous, and that's really neat. That's something that most modern firearms are incorporating, which
just makes ambidextrous?
So much sense. So what's gameplay like this now? Is this full auto? Is this?
This is fun. This is full auto.
Okay.
You can use full auto. I think you can
it looks pretty accurate.
It's a great full auto weapon. It's really smooth. Right now we're shooting heavy rounds. You see the green that indicates heavy rounds.
Man, look at that. I mean, this thing looks like it could reach out and touch someone. The recoil is very minimal.
It's a medium range weapon, medium to short range weapon. I'm a big fan of this one. I think it's a great addition.
I think I would love this. The only other like recent video game we used to play was Borderlands 2, and I think the first Borderlands, and I would love this style. Of course, there's a gazillion guns in that game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, they look cool. I think I would definitely pick that that in the game.
That one comes later. I like it because you can use 2 different types of ammo. Sometimes you have a hard time finding the ammo type that you need.
All right.
So you got 2 more, you got twice as many options.
It's like having a 357 revolver. Medusa, look up the Medusa revolver. They don't make it anymore, but that can shoot like a bunch of different calibers.
Really?
It was pretty wild.
Wow. Yeah, without changing the barrel or anything like that?
Nope. Okay. Yeah, they just all fit in the cylinder. I don't know too much about it, so I don't want to get into it. I'm sure Ian from Forgotten Weapons has a video on it, which can't recommend that channel enough. But yeah, no, that thing looked awesome.
This is one of my favorite ones, the Rampage. It's got a really solid, I love that, man. What is that? It looks like a Nerf gun, man. Dude, look at that, the Phoenix.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's
That's
cool.
like something from Voltron.
You know, like if you think of like warriors in the past, like how often would they have ornate stuff? Maybe not that often, but like maybe like the top guy would have like some ornate, like thing. I don't know.
Really, it almost looks ceremonial.
Yeah, yeah. There's modern, well, first off, we're playing a video game. This looks like an incredibly fun video game, and that looks fun.
It is fun, yeah.
But there are rifles
Rampage
now. I think maybe Spike's Tactical, forgive me if I'm wrong on this, like, let me know in the comment section, but there's AR receivers that for the magwell have like a big Spartan helmet, or like, you know, and they're like, you know, it's sculpted or cast, or I don't know. It's pretty wild just like this.
I love the way this looks in here. In real life, I would never have a gun that looked like this. I know there's some that do exist.
Whoa,
that is awesome.
Doing here?
Wait a minute, I've never done that in the game. I didn't know it could do that.
I don't know what the point of this would be.
No, wait, what are we looking? No, what are we looking at? Are we looking at maybe the barrel, the brakes?
Yeah, I don't.
Where the bolt is and stuff like
that? Most of this stuff should be a little further back.
I love that little pop open kind of action.
I mean, it's real cool looking. There's a lot.
Did he cock it from the bottom? That's so interesting. See, the rate of fire for this weapon is so perfect for me because I feel like it's fairly easy to control, and my brain can keep up with the rate of fire, and I can track that target a lot easier with the Rampage. It's one of my favorite weapons.
You know, this shoots kind of like so the Browning BAR that has 2 settings, and this is maybe a tiny bit slower or on a par with the lower setting on the Browning.
Oh, interesting.
Rifle.
Cool.
Yeah. No, this is neat. It's got that big drum in the back. It looks like a Surefire drum holding 40 rounds. That makes sense if they're big rounds. I think the Surefire drum that looks similar to holds like 60, I believe.
In the game of Apex, you can get magazine upgrades that can help you to carry more
ammunition.
Ammo,
Okay.
You can get butt stock upgrades, barrel stabilizers, magazine upgrades.
That whole gun is recoiling, so this is clearly, the whole thing is moving back.
Yeah.
Look at that. So this is a pretty powerful round. How accurate is it?
I feel like it's very easy to control.
Okay.
Especially with the rate of fire, because it's not like, you know, there's not a lot of like, you know, barrel's not rising up a lot, you know, as you're firing stuff.
Now, if you're playing a smaller map, would this maybe not be the best for like a smaller map because of such lower rate of fire? Is this more?
It's not to say you can't use it. Like I've definitely used it, but like I feel like medium to long range, it kind of meets that medium to long range need without being a sniper rifle or a marksman rifle. 30-30 repeater. This is lever action marksman rifle.
Look at this.
Low rate of fire, but it's really powerful round.
It's really wild looking too, and it definitely fits the game.
Has kind of an Old West kind of feel, despite the metal kind of finish and stuff. The metal.
Yeah, well, it's good to have a flashlight on your gun. Even if you have like a ranch gun, it's really good to have a light on it. So it's nice to have that ability. It looks like something like similar to a Magpul, you know, forward. It's not a forward grip. It's like a forward assist or something. You guys are gonna, you know, massacre me in the comments.
Massacre him. Massacre!
What's really interesting though is it looks like it's on the left side, the loading port.
Yep.
You know, now this makes sense to me because this allows you to maintain your grip, you know, and
yep.
So I like this. I've just never seen it before, so I think that's a nice touch.
I'm the worst when it comes to reload. I need something that reloads quick and fast, quick and easy. And this one, you watch the reload animation. It takes time to reload those rounds. You reload them one at a time.
Okay, yeah. One of the advantages though of having something like this, and the same thing with running most shotguns, is the reloading has a steep learning curve, right? To be fast with it. But with a normal magazine-fed rifle or shotgun, like you're empty, then you're full. You can do tactical reloads, but like these, you can keep running. As long as you have time to pop a couple rounds in between, you know, what you're doing, you can keep them. You can keep them hot and loaded up the whole time.
I love the angled grip in the front. Looks
forward
like
angled grip. Yeah, it's, you know, it's just. Cool
I'm having a hard time identifying whatever that piece of equipment is.
Yeah, I don't.
It's just in front of the trigger well and just behind that foregrip. I'm not sure what that piece of furniture is. I'm not sure what the purpose is.
I don't know. Maybe it could be a laser, but I don't know why it would be located there, not forward up on the weapon.
Let us know in the comments.
Battery pack.
Maybe a battery pack. Yeah.
Does it shoot energy? I would like to point out that that huge muzzle device up front. It almost looks like it could be like a 3-prong. That looks like the tactical version of like a Mini 14. I mean, that's very realistic and cool look. Oh, yeah, so she recoils. Look at those sights, nice. Again, no front sight posts.
The cool thing about this one, and I don't think there's real world equivalent, but the longer you aim down sights, the more powerful the round is.
Oh, so like charges up?
It's like charges up.
Yeah, maybe that's what that battery pack.
Maybe that's what it is, yeah.
Giving it more kinetic.
It charges the bullet. That's right. We figured it out, folks.
So that's a cool reticle too. That's very realistic. We call that the donut of death when it's a semicircle or a full circle. Yeah, this thing, I mean, the recoil is cool. It's not super intense.
Being loaded in the rounds.
Yeah, and he's loading quick. He's going pretty quick, but I understand what you're talking about.
And you don't have to load all 6. It doesn't make you, if you stop to fire, it'll stop loading and you'll fire them.
Right, okay, cool, very cool. I like this handgun a lot.
Peacekeeper, this is a lever action shotgun.
Lever action shotgun.
Not a high rate of fire, but really powerful when you get up close.
Look at that thing. Okay, the rear sight looks awesome. It's protected. A lot of people will do that. They'll wrap paracord or some type of cordage around the lever so that way it's not as sharp. It doesn't abuse your hands as much. Plus, if you ever need that cordage in a pinch, you got it right there.
I think, as I recall, that if I'm looking at it right, it's got 4 barrels. You have four that you shoot at a time. Yeah, right there.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
Looks like it's almost like a cartridge or like a pack of cartridges or a pack of shells.
Yeah, which I don't understand how the lever pulls one out and puts it in, or if I'm not sure how that would work, and I'd like to figure it out. You know, that's just how my brain works. But yeah, the 1887 Winchester. So we've all seen Terminator 2, hopefully, and that's the famous with the big loop and flipping it. Right. So Winchester asked John Moses Browning to make a lever action shotgun. He's like, no, bro. And I'm pretty sure he said, no, bro. Bros. Listen, a pump would be way more efficient and more reliable, and they're like, but we're known for lever action guns, and they made some of the most famous lever action guns in the West. They were incredibly popular. Well, not even just in the West, all over. You know, the gun that won the West. So yeah, he made it. He made this rolling block lever action shotgun, and then later like a few years later, they let him make a pump gun, which was more reliable. But they were very popular because it was the first repeating shotgun, and they got a resurgence, one, after Terminator 2 came out, and then also Australia because they have such strict firearm laws now.
All right, EVA-8.
EVA.
You can see it's got the drum.
Big old drum.
Big old drum barrel. It's pretty chunky looking. I love it.
This is the 2 things that come to mind. I'm sorry. But the high point carbine and then the Springfield M1A SoCal. Like if you combine those and it made it 12 gauge.
They had a love child.
Oh man, that is quite the love child, man. That is, if you know, you know. So drum mags, they make them for shotguns. And Fostech Arms, actually the owner just recently passed away. He's an awesome dude, Judd. They'd let me mess with their stuff anytime I'd see them, and they have these drum magazines that would fit the shot, and it was great. Got the charging handle there. That's what makes it look like the high point. So the back end looks like kind of a big fat high point carbine, and then the front looks just like the SOCOM. Now that looks like it has a front sight post. So now is this just semi or is this fully auto?
It's a full auto.
Oh yeah. Goodness, full auto.
You hold it down, bam, bam. It's got a slow rate of fire, kind of like the Rampage, but you just pull that trigger, man, and it keeps going.
Okay, all right. So yeah, slow rate of fire. Is this going to be a 12 gauge?
I mean, it's shotgun rounds. They don't really get that specific when it comes to Apex, but yeah.
But it's a big boy. It's a 12 or 10 gauge. I want to see that change in the mag out, if it's like a paddle release or if there's something on the side.
It looks like he almost pulls it out, almost like an AK, kind of like a paddle, like front.
No, that thing looked cool. It looked cool. You know, the slower rate of fire definitely would help with like, I mean, there are some shotguns that like you can shoot really fast just because of the way the bullet works and everything. They're not that terrible for recoil. Then there are others that's like, no, you want to shoot that slow. So the Mastiff, it's a cool foregrip. You got a rail in there, no front sight post. Look at that muzzle brake.
I was gonna say the muzzle
brake. Look at that big ass muzzle brake up front.
This one has a flat spread. I think it's meant to be like 2 side-by-side barrels.
Okay, so like H&K came out with a semi-auto shotgun for a little while that had a compensator on the front, a muzzle device that depending upon if it was oriented this way or this way, it would spread out or it would spread up and down. And they didn't have it out for very long, but there's been a couple shotguns that have it, so maybe that's what this is. Because I was wondering what this flap opening up.
Yeah, there's an action that happens at the front of the barrel when he fires that closes after each round.
And I can't think, you know, what the point of that would be to protect you from like the gases expanding. I don't know, that just doesn't make any sense to me. The rest of it works, and you know, looking at that muzzle device, it's kind of hard to see, but it looks wide. You know what I mean? And if it's open like that, those pellets, that the pattern is going to come out like this. That's a realistic thing. Now, how much they come out in the game versus, you know, real life, whatever. But okay, yeah, and he's loading it like a normal pump gun. Is this a pump shotgun or is this a semi-auto?
It's a semi-auto, I think.
But they still load the same. same. I mean, that looked pretty realistic. It looked very futuristic. I totally believe it. Only thing I don't understand, and maybe let us know in the comments why the flap, why that was open.
Maybe, yeah. Sometimes, you know, it's interesting when it comes to games like Apex, where they're not necessarily going for a realistic mil-sim type experience. What they decide to take from the real world and what they decide to kind of use with a little bit of artistic license, you know, and then they combine the two, and it ends up being some sort of action, like when we watched Doom. That was mostly artistry and very little real world.
Which is Doom, and that's okay. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So with this, it seems like they're kind of trying to ride the line between, you know, you can recognize it from the real world, you can compare it to something real, but we're also going to add a little bit of artistic flair because it's the future, it's a little bit of cartoony, the production, you know.
I think Apex so far, from everything I've seen, for someone like me, I feel like they found a good balance. And I would say otherwise if I disagreed. I'd be like, this is terrible. It seems cool, so. All right, the Alternator. So we've had a lot of comments asking what we thought of the Alternator.
Yeah, the Alternator. I'm very excited. The Alternator's fun. This is like SMG, submachine gun, light rounds.
And it does look ridiculous.
Super wild design. looks like a boomerang almost.
Yeah, it looks like a battle axe, or it looks like something off of Silverhawks.
Yeah, Silverhawks.
Is it Silver? Yeah.
Yeah. Find that, editors.
Yeah.
I accept that challenge.
So this is standard. Obviously, the skin is purple, but it seems like a bullpup. It's behind
got a big old thumb hole stock on there.
Yeah, and you kind of it's almost like like the P90 where you fit your thumb and the grip is like kind of looped in there with the design, and then
which it's fine. There's nothing really wrong with that. And then the magazine coming up behind there is really interesting.
Ultraviolet.
Ultraviolet. All right, it definitely like adds to like the craziness of this.
It even looks like it has like an attachment underneath for maybe like an attachment like a light or a laser.
It also looks like it's got a view screen on it that's just like a display at a sporting event. Yeah,
I love that.
Cool.
It uses light ammo, but in certain seasons they have these things called care package.
Okay.
And they drop from out of the sky and have like special weapons and attachments sometimes. This is what the Alternator looks like when it's in a care package, because what they do is they pump it up with care package ammo, which is like kind of it gives it the care package ammo, which is like it's pumped up in its damage.
Right,
you know, that kind of stuff, and it comes with attachments. So that looks like this is
kind of like when you're playing Contra or Super Contra.
Yes.
And like you catch the little flying things for a temporary
spread shot or the rocket. Gotcha. Exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
Did not date myself again.
That's right. High rate of fire. That's why I love the Alternator. No matter, I was sad that it went into the care package for a certain season because I want to find it on the floor. I want to find it out in the field.
Oh, so this isn't like readily available?
No, not right now.
And you keep saying season, so this is like a subscription game.
No, not a subscription, but every couple of months they'll add something, they'll change something, they'll bring out some new change, and they'll flip it around. They'll start a new season, and so that's how they kind of keep it interesting and keep the action rotating. They put different weapons in the care packages, they rotate them out, you know, and then they'll bring them out for the next season. So that's how they change stuff.
Keep it exciting.
Keep it exciting.
Like, yeah. And then like your favorite gun goes away, and like, oh, I hope they bring it back.
Exactly.
At first, I think this is completely unrealistic as far like how are you going to shoulder this thing? Revolver, and I think it's not the whole word revolver. I think it's shortened. My buddy just sent me recently a butt stock for using with body armor. It's just this little stubby butt stock, and it kind of looks like that.
That's funny.
Maybe this is possible. You know,
dude, just liquidating people left and right with those rounds, man. Yeah, I love that.
This looks like a lot of fun.
It makes you feel so powerful. I had a round where we were getting down to the last couple of teams. We got real close. We were on uneven ground, and my guys went in. I switched to that Alternator, man. I just liquefied people. It was so good. It felt so good.
It's so funny because like my first tour in Iraq, we were running real infantry missions and kicking down doors and riding helicopters. Sometimes it was really boring. Sometimes it was really exciting. But then like we'd get done and we'd talk about the raid we did in Halo.
Yeah.
You know, it was like this is so stupid.
You literally did it in real life.
Did you see like did you see Koo jump out of that ghost ship and then like smoke those two dudes? We just did a raid.
Yeah, we just literally did it in real life.
We're talking about Halo. What's your favorite? What's your favorite out of all of these? So
out of all of them, my favorite is the Alternator. I'm such a fan, and I'm such a fan because they put it in the care package and they pumped it up and gave it attachments in the Reaper rounds or the I forget what they call them, but they're care package rounds, and they just it feels so good, man.
I think I'd like this one too, and like that medium intermediate assault rifle. I think I would like that one, and I'd have to run that machine pistol. It's just so ridiculous. It was so ridiculous and cool looking.
Apex 2, the Apex ending, the return of the Apex. We saw some amazing weapons. I'm, of course, a huge fan. I love all these weapons. Paul, what was your favorite weapon that we saw?
I think it's the same as yours. I think the Alternator.
I love that Alternator.
To look at it, and it was just wild looking. I want to try it with all the different care packages you were talking about.
Yeah,
with the different rounds. It looks like a lot of fun. I like the intermediate assault rifle. I forget what it was called already.
Car?
The car, yes, I like that one. And then that machine pistol. It was just so wild.
RE45, yeah, man.
It's so opposite opposite of everything that I'm into in modern day. They're all pretty cool. I'm kind of interested in all three of those.
Folks, let us know in the comments what you thought about the weapons that we were reviewing. If you like this video, go ahead and check out Gamology's Facebook and YouTube page. If you want to hang out with me a little bit more, you can check me out at the Pop Culture Field Manual Podcast with Cameron Fath, or at twitch.tv/myhappyself. Paul, where can people find you out there?
If you want to follow my shenanigans, you can find me on Instagram at Mav11B. Also just started a brand new podcast called Thunderpunk Radio, which you should be able to find on most streaming and social media platforms.
Later, Gamologists.
Hasta luego. I thought it was going to be 2021 next year. It's funny that like 2022 sounds like 2020 part 2.
Redux, 2020 Redux, the Riri. Or we're going to have peace in our time, folks. I am not a criminal. Brand new channel from